You know, when it comes to network reconnaissance, everyone is obsessed with being stealthy. But what if I told you that's the wrong goal entirely? Today, we're going to dig into a much more powerful mindset, replacing that chaotic chase for invisibility with the quiet power of discipline.
And this quote gets right to the heart of it. This isn't about some fancy new tool or a secret trick. The goal here is to fundamentally change your approach. See, when you're disciplined, you naturally create fewer footprints, fewer of those authentication events we'll talk about, and even more importantly, you walk away with clearer, way more useful answers. It's a real shift from short-term tactics to a long-term professional strategy. And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? On the left, you've got the stealth approach. It looks like chaos, because it often is. You're throwing every tool you have at a target, hoping to somehow blend in. But ironically, all that activity just creates a ton of noise for defenders to spot. Now look over at discipline on the right. It's not about hiding, it's about being intentional. A few precise actions, a clear goal. That's what gets you useful results without lighting up the whole dashboard.
Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? Let's start with the very first principle. You have to start thinking of your reconnaissance work as a budget. Seriously, every single action you take isn't free. It has a cost.
So what's the currency in this budget of ours? Well, it's the authentication event. Every single time you try to log in, doesn't matter if it works or not, it's like you're spending a little bit of digital cash. It creates a receipt, a log file, that someone, somewhere, can eventually find. This is the cost you have to manage. And that brings us to this absolutely crucial point. Quiet recon isn't about being fast or slow. It's a budgeting problem. You have a finite number of attempts you can spend before you start drawing way too much attention. You're not just spending time, you're spending a resource that is being counted.
So if you're managing a budget, what's the most important rule? Knowing when to stop spending, right? And that leads to this really powerful idea: the quietest, most effective operation is one that has a predefined kill switch. You decide before you even start what your goal is, and at what point you're going to walk away, whether you succeeded or not.
This is why knowing when to hit stop is a genuine professional skill. It's not about giving up. It's about protecting the integrity of your work. It keeps your notes honest, your timeline clean, and it saves you from spiraling into just noisy, desperate actions. Honestly, knowing when to walk away is what separates the pros from the amateurs.
Okay, let's move on to our second principle. If reconnaissance is a budget, then how we spend that budget is absolutely critical. This is all about precision over volume, or as the source material so brilliantly puts it, tightening the experiment. Just think about it for a second. We've all been there. You hit a wall, a command fails, you're just not getting the info you need. What's that gut reaction? For most of us, it's to just start throwing more at the problem. More tools, more flags on the command, more everything.
But the disciplined response, it's the complete opposite. First, you just pause. You have to actively resist that urge to add more complexity. Then, you tighten the experiment. You simplify. You ask yourself, what is the one question I need to answer right now? And what is the absolute simplest, cleanest way to find out?
I absolutely love this practical rule of thumb. If your command line is starting to look like a Christmas tree with all the flags and options, just stop for a second. Are you truly investigating with purpose? Or are you just decorating, adding complexity because you hope something magical will happen? Real investigation is focused. Decoration is just noise.
And that brings us to our third and final principle. Okay, so we're managing our budget, we're tightening our experiments, but what's the point of all this? Well, the ultimate goal is to move from just collecting a bunch of data to making a clear, confident decision. It's all about the pursuit of clarity.
Here's a super common trap. You finally get that login to work, you see that beautiful auth succeeded message, and you feel this rush of victory, right? Like you've crossed the finish line, but you haven't, not even close.
So if it's not the end of the race, what is it? It's a decision point, a fork in the road. Getting access doesn't actually solve your problem. It just creates a new one. What do I do next? Every single move you make from this point on is going to cost you more of your budget and create more potential noise. You have to make a disciplined choice.
And this, right here, is the absolute key takeaway. Every piece of data you gather has to pass this one simple test. Does this information change my next decision? If the answer is no, then it doesn't matter how cool or interesting it seems, it's just noise. It's a distraction that cost you a valuable piece of your budget for nothing.
So, let's bring all three of these principles together and wrap this up. what does the mindset of a truly disciplined operator actually look like in practice?
Well, a disciplined operator treats every recon like a budget, carefully spending each and every attempt. They know that stop is one of the most valuable skills in their toolkit. When they get stuck, they tighten the experiment. They simplify the question, instead of just adding more commands. They value clear decisions way more than mountains of raw data. And at the end of the day, they're not just seeking information, they're seeking clarity, that one piece of the puzzle that tells them exactly what to do next.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to carry into your own work. The next time you're sitting at that command line, ready to hit enter, just pause for a second. Ask yourself this simple but incredibly powerful question. Is what I'm about to do a focused investigation that's designed to lead to a decision, or is it just decoration? The answer to that question will define just how quiet and how effective you really are.